I'm a fourth generation Southern Californian. My grandfather and my father were both born in the same hospital in Pasadena, so Southern California is sort of where our roots are, which is where I went to college, which is where I met Mary Alette. And we got married, lived in Los Angeles as happily unemployed actors. I had a beautiful young wife. I had a 1965 Mustang convertible, and I would do like a play a year and support myself by being a bartender. And I was, pretty happy. But then we decided to start a family, and when Mary Alette got pregnant, I did anyway, you sort of have to decide what you want to do when you grow up. Because you find this, somebody in the family's going to be, you got to take care of. So we decided what we wanted to do is we wanted to raise children and do plays. But we thought that wasn't a great place to raise kids. And so we said, well, where can you raise kids and do theater? And the answer at that time, in 1982, was either Minneapolis or Seattle. And Mary Alette was from Minneapolis, and so we could live on her parents, well, not on our floor. They had an extra bedroom even, so we could live for free if we moved to Minneapolis, which is what we did. And didn't come planning to start to work at the Guthrie Theater, just came because it was a great theater town. It's just a fabulous theater town, as it still is. Just auditioned everywhere, took everything I got into, and eventually I got into my first professional job at Chanhassen Dinner Theaters. I tried out for The Forerunner, and I got the lead in that, and that ran for a year and a half. That was a professional contract at Chanhassen. Deciding to become professional is like a critical point in an actor's life, because once you are in the union, Actors Equity, you can't work at non-equity theaters. Like, I can't do a show now at Theater in the Round. So you have to decide, do people know you well enough to sustain an equity career? They had open auditions every 6 months, and I would go to the open auditions and audition every 6 months at the Guthrie, and nothing would happen, and nothing would happen, until like 1986 or 87, I guess. I got hired right after the Chanhassen run to understudy a bunch of times, and then finally that year also I got in a production. I was in Leon and Lena and Lens. I was Richard Ohms played the role for the first half of the run, and I played the role for the second half of the run, and that was my first production at the Guthrie. So to actually be working on the Guthrie stage is, well, it's gigantic. I think it's the most respected theater in the country, and to actually work there is an honor and a privilege. There's nobody that pays as well as the Guthrie by far. So my economic situation is I got to work at the Guthrie a little bit every year so I can afford to work at all these other theaters. It's tough to string together a living. Everything in this town is totally freelance. It's worked out well for me in some cases, because I've done parts that I wouldn't necessarily be cast in at the Guthrie, but I've been able to play some leads in recent years at smaller theaters. Great parts, like I played Richard III for 10,000 Things, and I got the opportunity to work for 10,000 Things, which is their mission is to perform in prisons and in homeless shelters, and so you do your play with no lighting and very minimal costumes and set, and you're in the auditorium or the gym at the prison, and you just set up and do Richard III, and this close, now is the winter of our discontent, right in this guy's face, talking about murder to murderers. It's a very, I lobbied to work for those guys. Well, Thirst was put together by a bunch of actors, and I don't know, it's a great idea. They said, they want to take writers and actors and throw them together real fast and do this fun experience. You'll be sitting, patrons will be at a bar, and all of a sudden a piece of theater erupts at the table next to them, and things acted out and it disappears, boom, goes away. Wouldn't that be kind of fun?
Special. I already told you I don't like pasta. Because you never tried it.
You do it 4 times over the course of a couple months on Monday nights, which is Actors' Night Off, so you can have your regular theater gig and do this. So it's really a busman's holiday.
And you want to know the really sad part, Frank? I don't even like fettuccine Alfredo. I like bolognese.
it's fun partly because it's scary, because you're under rehearsed and the people are right next to you, and you're just totally exposed, and it's part of the rush that actors like, of putting themselves in harm's way.
And this is the Wordle Thrust stage. They're getting ready to do the fight call now, which I'm not in, but I thought you'd find interesting.
Stand by, please. Have speed. And ropes.